What's going down? Baseball Banter's the channel. Thor's Thoughts is the show. I'm Thor, back rolling Han Solo. It's a first time we've ever done it. Double review? No, that's not the first time. Spawn review? No, we've done those before. Comic book review and a figure review in one? First time, but we had to do it. It's a double review. It's Gunslinger Spawn. Gunslinger Spawn, the figure, and Gunslinger Spawn issue number 1. I was lucky enough, it's October the 20th, to pick up both of these guys. Now, I had Gunslinger Spawn for a while, probably about a month, maybe a little bit longer. But I was waiting to open them for Gunslinger number 1. Now, Gunslinger for me, and I'm only going to really start talk about in the comics, the issue number 1 and where he's shown up in the Spawn universe since they kind of restarted with Spawn universe number 1. So I'm not going back to like his original or anything prior. I'm sorry, with just this. So, this Gunslinger Spawn showed up right in the beginning of Spawn universe number 1. They're on this island. Spawn's captured, Callisto's captured, and then they have, is Sigor there? I think Sigor's there too. But then that's where the kind of, Al Simmons Spawn meets Gunslinger Spawn. And then that's kind of it. You see them kind of get out of that, and then it kind of breaks off from there. And you kind of don't know what happens. Then at the end of Spawn Universe, you get kind of his origin story, or not his origin story, but like his beginning where he wakes up. He's been laying dead for like a year. And back in the 1860s, I think 1865, he's been laying dead for about a year. And then he gets up and he's like, wolves are hanging out there all dead. They knew his master was going to come back. So he's like, let's roll. And then he reappears in King Spawn number 1. He gets the end of the book on that, King Spawn number 1. And that's where they kind of talk about like he was shot, he was impaled, they slit his throat, they hung him. Just for a caveat, they cut his face off. Which is exactly why Levi's here. See this little graphic for the young lad. His whole thing is about avenging his sister Amy back in like the 1860s, and he's about to start going on that revenge tour. He's like he digs up this pile of guns with his wolves and stuff, and then like right when he's digging up this chest of guns, he disappears, and he's 160 some, or no, 260 some years in the future, 160 some years in the future. He's in current times dealing with like what Spawn's going through now. So Gunslinger Spawn issue number 1 picks up right where Al Simmons and him part ways after the island incident in the Spawn universe issue. Which is cool because Al Simmons is like, who are you? I don't trust you. Where are you from? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And Gunslinger's like, jumps on a motorcycle and takes off. So the first half of this book actually really deals with the current time storyline for Gunslinger. And the second half of the book really deals with like the back in the 1860s storyline. I like how they're doing this, and I think they're going to all converge, right? Like the backstory will converge and it'll lynch to the front story. And I think it's going to be really neat. I'm really excited to like go on this journey, but Gunslinger 1, the first half when they're in current times, he's riding on the motorcycle, it runs out of gas, so he's pushing it. He comes across this like teenage dude, or not 20, probably in his 20s, working at a gas station. His name's Taylor. And he's like, it's kind of that old trope of like, you meet the young guy who's like, oh, you don't know what a cell phone is, and Google, and all these tropes, which are fine because it works for someone from the 1860s. I'm fine with that. That's not something that like bothers me. But then, while like he's meeting Taylor and they're like dealing with his bike, and an angel with dark wings shows up, and his eye is all wrapped in, he's like all wrapped in tape and stuff, and he gets killed. Gunslinger kills him, boom, shoots him right through the head, and he's like, all right, let's go to your house, talking to the Taylor dude, and like, let's fix up my bike and I'll get on my way. So they get to Taylor's house, and Taylor says his dad doesn't allow him to come home until he's like called him and picks him up, and there's like all these rules. And Gunslinger's like, that's kind of weird, don't you think, son? And they show up, and his dad has like 4 bad angels or whatever in his house. And he's like, oh, shouldn't have come. Go ahead, kill my son. So they're going to go kill him, and that's where it's like to be continued. So that's when they cut to the first story on the second half. which all take place in the 1860s. All three stories in this in the second half of this book take place in the 1840s, 1850s, and then the 18. Well, one of them's kind of, they don't give you the year for, but you can guess it's kind of in that time period. So the first story is called The Lynching, which is, it looks as like Gunslinger is not really a bounty hunter. It shows like this bounty for 25,000 or whatever, and he's supposed to go after this guy, but he finds out what happens and then pretty much kills the dude who killed these kids. He like kills the dude's kids as like a revenge thing, and then like walks off and like tears the revenge or the reward poster in half for the wanted poster as he's walking off. It was a fine story. It kind of talks about like who he is, so you get a little bit more of that flavor in there. But then I think probably the most crucial piece, one of the most crucial pieces in this book is weapons. It's a mini part right in the back third, and it talks about how his weapons or why his weapons kill angels or kill like his enemies. And he actually has to use his own blood to enhance his bullets, his knives, everything, right? And like he has to enhance all his weapons with his own blood, and it drains his power. Now he's already on like the levels of Spawn. If Al Simmons is like here, he's like here, right? So to now weaken yourself by using your own blood to enhance your weapons, like it just shows you this dude's mentality, and it's super crazy. I also loved in this book, there was a part where I heard they were going to explain why he wears a tall hat, and I was like, oh boy. But it's a really throwaway line, and it's pretty much just for everything for him is about protection, right? Protecting himself, enhancing his weapons, having steady aim, but having as many weapons as possible. His hat holds a bunch of big knives, like a whole bunch of them. You can see in one picture at the end, but in the first part when he's actually talking about it, he just pulls out this like big knife, really big knife. And that I thought was really cool, because it's like, doesn't need to explain why he wears that big hat. You don't need to explain that at all, but it's a cool reason as to why he has such a tall, like 10-gallon hat. I thought that was like a really neat little nugget in there. One of the parts I will go back to for the first half, he is now like the linchpin in what I think the bad guy's plan is. There's a double page with dinosaurs that Todd had talked about in one of his many videos he does on his IG channel. And there's a double page with dinosaurs, and it's the bad guys talking, and they're talking about how he is possibly like the piece to their puzzle. So we'll see where that goes. There's a whole bunch of like there's all these veins and all these vines stories running through right now, this Spawn universe, and how they're going to interweave and exit through is going to be really cool to watch. And Gunslinger is going to be a huge part of that, which I think is weird, because he's like from what I understand, his jacket doesn't do what Al Simmons' cape does. Or he doesn't have, like I said, he's much weaker. So maybe it can, but he doesn't have the power to actually do it. So maybe that's something he learns. I don't know. I'm just really pumped to see where this dude goes. I'm going to start opening this guy up, because we'll dig into this figure, because I'm wrapping up here the book. But we went into the lynching, the weapons. I really thought that was cool. Explaining why he has to weaken, how he's already weak, and then he weakens himself on purpose to kill his enemies, is just, it's next level. And then the last one's called A Small Gift. And that one, he's just sitting in a bar, and this dude's being a loudmouth, and he starts like harassing this kid, and he's going to hurt the kid. And he's like, let the kid go. And then he's like, oh, what are you going to do? And he like cuts a piece of his ear off. And then he's like, oh, my boss, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, where's your boss? Who's his name? And then that kind of ends the entire entire issue 1. It's a $5.99 double thick issue. It came out with, I got the cover I wanted. I almost got the ensemble cover, but I'm really glad I went with the horse cover, because if you were watching the Comic Crusaders interview with Todd McFarlane from like a month ago or less than that, he said they're going to do the horse as a figure. And if you watched the video yesterday about the Spawn Wave 2, we're getting Gunslinger Spawn with a Gatling gun, or, that looks sick. But let's get in there. There you go. Spawn Gunslinger issue number 1. Go get it. It is very good. I broke things down, but I left a lot of things out. So there's a lot of meat in them bones, as they say, to go read. And if you've already read it, wax poetic in the comments about what you dug or what you thought about it. Oh, this does have some things, some sticky little things. No, I didn't know what to expect from this first issue, being that I don't know what to expect from Gunslinger overall. And I'll be honest, that what they're setting up seems to be something that I'm down with. I'm really down with going forward. And I just love the look of this guy. I mean, I can't wait to get him out. He comes with some great accessories. This figure, switching gears to the figure now. I love this holster for his shotgun. It's like a over the shoulder strap that holds his shotgun, and then he's got his 2 pistols, which are like his most important pieces. Because he said one of the things when they're talking about in weapons, it's harder for him to do bullets, right? And to season or enhance his bullets with his blood, but he has to do it because more and more enemies are now entering his, he's fighting more and more enemies. And this was even back when like he's in the 1860s, not even in Spawn's time, where he doesn't even know. Like when he fights that angel, that first angel that shows up when he's still with Taylor in the beginning, he's like, you don't know what we've become or the strength that we have now, because technology and Google, right? That's made everybody stronger. Like I said, some of the man out of time elements that they use in this are not new by any stretch of the imagination, but they're done well and they don't bother me. So I let it slide. There he is. Dude, this figure. So Spawn Wave 1, which I have all of them, was Violator, Clown, Raven Spawn, and the Redeemer. If you watched the Spawn video from yesterday, you know this is Spawn Week on the channel. So we got the double review right here with Gunslinger. Wow. He is cool. I knew I was going to like him when I got him out, but man, I like him even more than I thought I was going to. I've been looking at him for the month he's been here. Look at these guns. These pistols look great. The shotgun or the rifle. Not shotgun, it's a rifle. That rifle looks fantastic. Fits in here, fits in the holder. Oh, get it up over his shoulder. Oh my gosh. The hat, the detail on this guy is phenomenal. These figures are $24.99. So they're the same price as the Build-A-Figures from the DC line. Now you get a Build-A-Figure for 4 of those. These have to have a little bit more than in the paint department, in the accessories department. Now, nice thing is they do get to come with guns, since Warner Brothers has a no guns policy right now on McFarlane. Bam! His arm things, these spiky arm things, and he's just skulled out everywhere on the hat, on the arms. Does he have the knife that says Amy? That would be next level if he actually had because he has a knife that has Amy etched into it, his sister's name. And I think that's it on his thigh here. But you can't make out how it says Amy. The boots, man, double jointed all over the place. He is just, I cannot wait to get him in the photo booth and start snapping these shots that you're seeing, because he's going to look gorgeous. He does look gorgeous. I love Spawn Wave 1. Spawn Wave 2 looks good. I don't know if I'm going to get all of it, but I will be definitely getting Cygor, She-Spawn, and then, was it Soul Crusher? Soul Crusher gets wrecked in Spawn 320. I started collecting. I'm all in on the Spawn, if you can't tell. Like, literally all in. I got the 3 King Spawn. I got the last 4 issues of Spawn, and then Spawn Universe, and now Gunslinger. Like I said, go pick this bad boy up. It is nice. It is nice. I'm gonna get his pistols in here. God, the jacket has just great detail, front and back. He's got these little pockets all over, bullets. If you're gonna charge $5 more for like a regular figure with no BAF, then the detail has to be on point, and the detail on this figure is on point. Oh my gosh, so good. So Spawn 3, Spawn King Spawn number 3 came out today too. I haven't read it yet because I've been too busy doing this. And then next week is Spawn 323. I will be doing a double review of Clown and Violator. I got the Raven Spawn review coming. I got the Redeemer coming. This guy, pew, 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 Gunslinger. Woof. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the figure. Let me know what you think about the comic. Have you read it? Are you picking it up? Are you all in on the Spawn universe? These figures, these new comic titles, especially longtime Spawn people. I'd love to hear from you, because I jumped in 319. I think was my first Spawn, and then Spawn Universe was like the beginning. So I'm on from this jump point. Wow, there it is. Gunslinger Spawn. You know what to do. You know where to do it. Till the next one. Deuces.